So hello guys, welcome back to a brand new video. Today's video about this plane, Tomjets X130. So a little context, this plane is not mine. It's a customer's plane from Tom. So in the future, we're wanting to make a customer service where we build the planes up. We can create your RF plane and also a PNP plane if you want. And me, for a friend of mine, and Tom, someone that works for Tom is going to do that, basically. And it will be fixed price service currently. That's what we're thinking, or I'm thinking. And was my main idea. And Tom thinks it's a great idea. And this is basically, we at Chaser event, someone wanted the X130. We said I can build it just to see how much effort is this. The goal is to get this done before Dubai, for me at least. Obviously, we still have interceptor stuff to do, and yeah, I mean, this one is a bit on backdraw. And if the customer, we don't 100% know yet if the customer wants it or not. If not, it's going to end up being mine. But we're going to build this in quality and not the way we built this one and the Squall, because those were just quick projects that we didn't want to spend a lot of time on at that time, because we had to create them, finish them quickly. But this will be a nice project. We will CA the main structure, the rest will be all wood glued on, so it's a nice to use a nice flexible glue. All the carbon rods will be epoxied in nicely, so just so no one can complain if they're getting a customer service plane. And just so you guys know, the way this is built, it won't be, and also the way this is fiberglass didn't really take a lot of time. But if we're fiberglass, so in the future I'll be using carbon reinforcement, so there would be a strip of carbon going down here in the edge just to strengthen this whole thing, because the edges work like a carbon spar kind of, and I probably also put one on this edge to just strengthen up the entire plane, and also somewhere in the bottom, or most likely around here, up here, to strengthen this entire area where this one broke apart, for example, because as you know, this thing broke apart right here, because that's the weak spot of the interceptor kind of. But yeah, this is the box. I'll get everything laid out on the table. We'll be using the box, and that will be just laying up aside. That's where all the parts will come in as soon as they're finished with their steps. So I'm gonna start probably getting something like the rudder laid out now, because I have to finish the Squall. So today we'll finish it for paint. Later on it will be down here, because we have to do fitting and stuff like that, and apply a bit of epoxy tonight for the carbon look. And yeah, just doing this while my paint booth upstairs heats up, so I can get started with sanding and primering. So let's get going with this one for now. So guys, this is the X130 all laid out. You obviously have your balsa sheets. You've gotten your vacuum formed canopy, which you get pre-done. Honestly, if this is going to be mine at the end of the day, I might do a cockpit, because I think that will look cool in here. And yeah, then we've gotten a bunch of wood pieces, and my father just said this does not look like it's going to be an X130 at the end of the day. But I mean, I'm telling you, I think this thing will be finished with wood or covered before Dubai even, because I think I'm going to finish my Squall until Sunday this week, and then I'll have a week of time. And then obviously we've gotten all our wood pieces. These are new, so these are fairly cool. It's if you look at this, so this is something new that Tom did. So these are the trailing edge pieces for your rudder, for example, your rudder that comes in here. These are these trailing edge pieces, and they're now pre-cut to the right size, first of all. And second of all, they've gotten pre-lasered holes, so you don't have to drill any holes, because drilling holes in these is very annoying, because you slip it to the side and everything, and like this, very simple, and no worries of that anymore. This is the huge plate for the turbine, and yeah, honestly, looking good, all of these parts. We've gotten our nozzle, of course, our 3D printed nozzle, our nose cone, our intake ducts, and these are new pieces for the canards. For the canards also, since we have had a few things, the canards, we've gotten two tubes in here now that will be glued into each other, just to have a lot of a stronger mechanism. Then we've gotten for the lid 2 pin hinges. Then we've gotten just some washers and screws, and especially the cool thing is we've got some bearings for our canards, and a new addition as well, these beautiful carbon plates for your carbon pieces, because before it was just black fiberglass. But now you've gotten, in combination with these beautiful carbon tubes, you've gotten beautiful carbon pieces for your wing tabs, etc. And yeah, this is all. So that's looking good. And I think the first thing I would get started in, like we always do, is probably the rudder, because I don't know, that's just the part we always get started with, and I might be able to finish that today, but we'll have to get everything back to the box. The box will go here, so we have space for everything, and then we have to get our rudder template assembled first. I don't know if you have to assemble it or not, and then we can get our rudder built. So what Tom actually does first usually is to get all of the parts out of the wooden pieces, the spare pieces. Honestly, don't quite know if we're gonna do that. Get all of those wood pieces out. We'll see. So yeah, I guess let's just get to a bit of work. So guys, I did put everything out. So I honestly was nerve-wracking, or it was really nerve-wracking currently. Oh no, you don't say it that way. But anyways, I was very excited to get this done because I've been sanding for the past week. I think I did a ton of sanding because my carbon experiment on the Squall kind of went wrong. But very happy to be starting another build today. I love this part. This is so much fun with these Tom Jets kits. I've never, after building this thing, which was like a Valpro RC kit, very long, doesn't exist anymore. I've started a video, but Tom Jets came in between. So one side is already done sanded. There's a shit ton of sanding to do on this thing, because this thing was fiberglass terribly. This was done after the Corsair though. Corsair will also finish, I don't know, maybe like in 20 years? No, I don't know. But yeah, probably a smart way to do, because now we've gotten all our rudder parts here, canard pieces, and yeah, we'll get to going with the. So well, you'll start seeing a time lapse. Restarting rudder will be pitch black as soon as I do that, because it will be after 10 when I'm finished sanding the Squall. And after the Squall's done, up there, this thing will go up in the shed with all its parts to get wrapped up. And this will probably, I'll do this one, I'll start it. What I'll do on this is I'll sand, add spackle, and then work on this thing. And if I don't want to work on this thing anymore, so work on this thing again, and we'll do it somewhat like that. So I think we're gonna have a few pieces of this thing finished for paint as soon as we are heading out to Dubai. So at least that's my plan. And yeah, let's continue. Less chatting. And the goal of the end of this video is at least to get it looking like this, or maybe not, because I want to do quite a bit of a detailed run through. And yeah, happy. I'll order some carbon because this stuff is way too thick. So this is 240 carbon, obviously way too thick. I have no idea why I used that. I mean, this is the thinnest wool carbon I could find. I ordered on Easy Composites, but parts like this, like the tank lid, will be in here. Honestly, on things like this, which have to be strong anyway, I might just use the twill here, but maybe not, because I mean 90 grams of carbon is like way less. I don't know if I have anything where I used 90 grams, but anyway, which is way less. But I mean, things like this tank brace and everything would be in this carbon, and obviously I would have to get the holes done, so this will get spray glued like on a thing. Then I'll probably cut off the holes, and after that's done it will be epoxied. So we won't make the epoxy shiny finish. It will be optimal drench, which means it's going to be matte at the end of the day, and you will be still able to feel some texture, because that's the optimal trench of drenching of the carbon. That's where it's the strongest, at which point it's the strongest, and it does not have unnecessary weight. Everything else is just unnecessary weight if you go above that. So yeah, obviously still have a bunch of carbon, so I might just use, but I want to keep this just to have some for probably reinforcements and stuff like that. That's what I'll use that stuff for. But yeah, looking good. I honestly might do the formers. I think there's a landing gear former. Do the landing gear formers with the heavy carbon. So yeah, we'll see. Because I at least want to get the back end maybe done, and just the things that, yeah, that's a good idea. Doing the things that are actually structural with a bit of heavier carbon, because honestly with this plane it doesn't matter. And then the rest, for example, the front board will be done with 90 grams of carbon, which is perfect. So yeah, let's get going with the rudder. So guys, rudder is almost done. Just want to show you this step, because this was very confusing for me, because I don't have the manual with me now. So this step was very confusing. So I thought, like, okay, we still have these two parts left and this part. So this is all glued now, obviously very simply glued. Let me just go through with this first. So I did this without manual, very simple. You got your rudder parts are, and then you just you can only stick these in one way. So these here, these go, which one? Let me see which one's in where. Okay, so this one, these two go in first, then this one goes in, then this one goes in right here, and then on top of that you put this one right here, clicks into these, and then this one goes also in here, and these all intersect with this front piece right there. And then you've gotten this little guy right here, your two plates right here, This piece comes on at the very end, front piece slips on, and this back piece. And yeah, very simple. And this piece, which is included. And here's the part where I got nerve wracking. I was like, okay, so I know there's this box, and the reason I got confused is because I thought, okay, so now the box comes on somewhat like this. I'm like, there are tabs for template, but I can't find the template. And this was honestly so stupid. And then I was like, thinking, and I also couldn't find my phone at the same time, so I couldn't look at pictures. So it was like really annoying. And then I just stepped back, took a step, and I think I was like half an hour trying to search for parts, thinking I don't have all the parts. And I was like, okay, but there's a groove here. I looked at the tabs, I looked at these slots, and yep, I noticed that. Let me see if this is correct. Yep, I noticed that this comes on here and this on the other side, and this piece is up front here. So yeah, mistakes happen, or you get lost. Never rush it or force it, just think. And yeah, let's get these glued, and then we have a finished rudder essentially, and we can move on to wings. So let's go. So guys, rudder is finished. I obviously had to take it out of the template to get this side on, but everything's done. I recommend gluing it in on the inside here first, on both, because if you start gluing here and then glue here, you might not have enough reach anymore to bend it in, which it's very unlikely because you have the tabs anyway, but just to be on the safe side, start gluing here and then forward or backward. I just don't know if this is supposed to be together like this or like this. So I sent Tom a picture, and if it's supposed to be like this, I'll put something in there. But I think on the scale one it's like this, so I don't know. But yeah, this is done. I'll put it down here, and let's continue with the wings. guys, this was by far the easiest wing to build. Yeah, like always, center ribs, all of them, popped them in first, then popped in this guy right here, then popped in this guy right there. Then I added on this bottom piece. Before adding this bottom piece on, make sure to glue these in, or spot glue them at least, and sand them nicely. So these are just spot glue with CA, since this is a build that will is planned for series production, or just because I have the time, we're going to go ahead, take a bead of epoxy, air epoxy, 24-hour epoxy, make sure on both sides that that's fully in. And then this one in right here. So I like starting the gluing right here. So I'll always go this spot, then here, and just have all of these connected on one point. Then I'll go from behind slowly down here. So yeah, last things I put in is, then I put in this. So you don't force this. If you force this in and glue it in weirdly, it will deform and everything, but this slips in. It's very hard. It's not very hard, just kind of annoying and trying to get all of these in. But as soon as you get it in, it kind of pops in at one point, and then it's all nice and not deformed. And then at the very end, I usually put these in, and then we've gotten carbon spars to do. So cut these carbon spars. This is what's left of the carbon spar. So these go in like this, and just a bit more. And yeah, then what I did is I sanded them with some 40 grit sanding paper, so that we can air epoxy them later as soon as I mix up a batch. And yeah, these will be spot glue as well. Another thing is the stopper for the carbon spar right here. So a trick to take this on is just lay it down, and then plop, bunch of CA on the back, so these can't come out, and there you got it. And now we're going to get this spot glue together, and then we've gotten one X130 wing done, and then we only have to do one more and maybe start on the fuselage today. So let's go. So guys, here you have it, and yeah, everything's in spot glued. We sealed this off with CA. Going to use some thick CA to finalize it, just because the CA you can kind of sand wall here, and the epoxy is just way too thick. Same thing here. I don't know if you can see it, but there is a bit of CA here, just to make it at the end of the day prettier. So when we are painting this thing, I mean, if this is for the customer, he will probably not be painting it and stuff like that. But if it's mine, we will, obviously. Then we'll obviously tape these off. We didn't do for the squall because it had to go quick, or I was just too lazy at this point. But for this one, we'll do it 100% well, so we'll seal everything off nicely. But yeah, let's get the next wing done, and I think we might move on to the canards then, because those look interesting. So yeah, let's get to the next wing. So guys, there's a bit of work back here to make this a little more scale. So we've gotten, as you can see, this is a little wider now. It goes on the real plane. This here's the intake, an air intake for something, I don't know what. It's a black intake with a lot of holes, and this is the exit for it, which is a slim hole. And yeah, just put some popsicle sticks in here, which to make it wider, which I think it was a bit useless now. A piece of balsa in the back to clean it up and make it a bit more beautiful. So yeah, now we can wrap up the rudder chapter and move on to the other wing. So let's get going. So guys, 2 wings are done, as you guys can see, perfectly identical, and 1 rudder. And next thing to do is the canards. So let's get to those. Let's go. So guys, canards are finished, and I'm already seeing why we are having problems with these. And that's because, I mean, Tom's argument was that all of the canards are floppy also on the carved planes, but the issue is something like a carved J10 or pilot J10. You have a fairly small canard, and the carbon spar is fully glued in with the entire structure with carbon mats and fiberglass mats. And here we've gotten our spar kind of flying mid-air in between a few wood pieces. What's happening is this entire canard is definitely moving in the air. So I'm going to talk with Tom. We have to redesign this. Maybe make a 3D printed part that's bigger, at least in this area. And then have like one more wooden piece. I don't know. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and get this thing laminated out with carbon from the inside. So that's my solution right now. So yeah, and also another thing is this spar going through is totally useless. I'm gonna cut it off and perma glue that into there. So yeah, these are the canards, nothing special to them, honestly, very simple to put together. Obviously, since these pieces, this 3D printed piece slots in between here, you have to glue the 3D print this together with this first, and then you can just put this into your template and then put the front piece on and then the back piece. Very simple. But yep, I want to put together the front of the fuse, and yeah, I want to do the front of the fuselage in order for me to be able to maybe check this out more, but I have to see. So I'm probably gonna get started on the front of the fuse, but depending on how I see myself out, I don't know if I'm gonna manage that today, but I'm definitely gonna do the inside with carbon of this thing. So let's get going. So guys, quick update. So we can take this out. This is non-relevant currently, but yeah, so obviously I don't have a manual right now, so I'm just kind of trying to puzzle things together. But yeah, so I first just went ahead and put all the ribs in. Obviously goes from smallest tallest back to the biggest, and starting. Then I was like, how do I put the board in? So this is a doubled up board. Just use some thick CA for that, and I'm waiting for the manual before I do these supports for the gear, and I'm pretty sure the gear mounts from the bottom, almost 100%. But I don't want to put this on and then tomorrow notice they're wrong. So we're not doing that. But yeah, anyway, let's see what have we done. So yeah, you have to glue together the board, and then you go ahead and you really weirdly have to slip these ribs in. So as you can see, these fit perfectly. So you take up the board, and then you kind of just like, you have to have them sideways and kind of just very weirdly, it just fits. So the board ends up being like this up in the rib, and you slot it in here, and it just clears here and goes around all the way until it fully goes in. The hardest rib is this one to get it through here, but other than that, it's fairly easy. Then gotten this up top here, and this like that, very easy. I won't go farther back today. I think I'm just looking for a piece that goes in here from here to up here. Still looking for that, but my main intention was to get the canard pieces done up so I can mock the canard up and see how I want to support this thing. So let's continue. So guys, there's one rib that's frustrating me right now. So this is the pattern. I do not know what comes in the bottom here. I don't know that yet. When that goes to the bottom, but we'll deal with that later since this thing's flipped around. But under that, this piece is one rib, this one. Then we've got this top rib right here, which is F55. Same thing on the other side. Then we've got the next one is what does it say? Here, F57 and F57 here. These two come together all into the front one. Then up top you've got an F59, F59B, A and B. And then you've gotten F14. I mean, either I'm completely wrong right here, or this just doesn't want to work. But I mean, no, this is F41. I mean, if it be, theoretically this should be F60. So I'm gonna go ahead and see if there's an F60. But this is not fitting right here, so that's why I'm not doing this, because I'm suspicious that I do not have the correct rib. So I'm gonna keep on searching. So guys, I took myself the time to get this done because this is the canard system. Honestly, this really isn't bad. So I'll get the bearings test fitted and just see what that will look like as soon as the bearings are in there. And then we will see. Yeah, I still have to do the boxing session today. Let's continue. I'll just test fit the canards in here with the bearings and then show you. But this is a good system, honestly. So this is, here is a bearing and there's a bearing, and then we can just have this piece clamped off at the end of here, and this would clamp off the entire system from pushing out, basically. You'd have to put like a washer or something like that in between there, but that is a good system if we can use that in that way, because we need something to stop this thing from backing back out, if you know what I mean. And it has to be removable, so I guess that's the best option, just using this thing. So yeah, yeah, basically what I'm thinking. Let's get this test fitted. Yes, so guys, I'll leave that one. It's really hard to get the carbon tube in there, which is a good thing because then the bearings will actually help. But yeah, I'll get these covered so we can do a reinforcement on those. You know what? I think I'll wait on that. I might just wait on that. Let me think. Either do this now or I'll do this another time. No, I think I'll do it now. So let's get those covered. I have to get this somewhere else for now. I mean, nothing's glued yet because I want to confirm with Tom tomorrow that this is all correct, because I'm quite pissed that this one rib won't fit and still have to find these right here. But other than that, everything's looking good, and I really love this airplane. This airplane is so unique. So yeah, these would go like this, and they fit to the round of the fuselage, and yeah, just looking good. So yeah, I have to make a bit of space so I can get the canards covered. So let's get going. So guys, here's what I'm going to do. So I got this all mocked up, so this edge relay doesn't need anything. But yeah, got this, and this is connected everywhere, also up the sides. So this here will be filled with micro balloons, so we've got a nice fillet over there, also around. And then these pieces will shape around this piece and get everything done up finishly. So yeah, everything's all done with spray glue, got everything connected up front everywhere, looking good. So stoked to get this done. So first thing we'll do is mix up the rest of the 90mm epoxy we have. So let's get going. Just got back home and kind of started finishing off this front section before going to the back section. I mean, we still have the bottom one, and the rib that goes here, and I think there's something going here or something like that. Well, see, I mean, nothing's glued because I don't have any activator, but it's all stuck in place. Some of it is glued. This one side is glued, the other one isn't yet, but a few are glued. This rib was broken, so it's glued. So this rib used to be up here, but that's wrong. And it's good I noticed that, because yeah, because otherwise this wouldn't have fit with any of the angles. And I noticed because this was sitting way too low in there, I was like, I don't think that was supposed to be, and it was pretty tight on one or two spaces. And then I noticed that there's the hatch here as well, and there was nothing to connect the hatch. But yeah, anyway, this plate goes on like this, like there, somewhat like that. Don't know what that's for yet. But yeah, I'm gonna start plugging these in. The back stuff here, I'm gonna get started with plugging those in. Should glue that at some point, and yeah, gonna do that first. Gonna come back to you in what order those are, and I mean, that's not really hard in what order they are, but yeah, after the first few steps, I'm gonna be back with you. So let's get going again. Guys, just want to note, so before this back end attaches, this rib right here is the very first rib you have to do. So that's F27A, I think. So what you have to do is, very first thing before this rib goes down, because these ribs slot into this one from up top, you have to put this rib in here, which is a bit difficult because there are a few things intersecting right here. So as you've gotten all the other ribs on top of this rib, at the end you can then go ahead and slide in your engine rails as soon as they're glued together, and then you can go ahead, what I'm doing right now, and pop on this guy onto the side, and then we're going to continue towards the back. So let's go. So guys, just did a bit of trying and figuring out. So here we've gotten these ribs installed, and obviously not glued, just test fitting them. Engine rails are still not glued together and stuff. But yeah, I'm just getting stuff done little steps because I want to get everything in front glued before we move on. But just kind of test fitting. So I've gotten this stuff here all fitted, so this has to go in before this rib goes on. Obviously these have to be glued together. And then you have this little piece up here. Same here, this piece. And next thing I want to try figuring out is where the hell this servo will go. And I think this might just, yeah, this will be something like that, most likely. So yeah, try figuring out this today still, where this stuff goes and stuff like that, and then we can slowly move on. So let's get going. So guys, I went ahead, took off all the other ribs because they were disturbing and was kind of going in weird shapes because that was all not glued. So yeah, I'm gluing the engine rails together with this stuff. This is like fairly thick wood glue, and it's good. We'll also glue on the wood planking with it. Gluing together this here. So we'll do some carbon work on this. So carbon fiber here, carbon here, and then we will do up these rails with carbon, because these essentially support the thing. So we'll have a piece of carbon in this corner, over up into this corner, and also here on the outside, just so this all is nice and supported where the canards go through. And then we're gonna do a strip down here. So yeah, and then at the end of the day, obviously, as soon as we're gluing these in, these will be fully glued in with epoxy, and I might just put like something over here just to fix it in place properly. So yep, looking good. Let's get on with it. So guys, I've gotten everything glued in so far now, and obviously this is all glued together here. So it starts here, then we glued these top ones together, then section for section ran a bead of CA down here, and that was that. So next thing you are going to do, you cannot put these, what are they called, the spar things, whatever, in yet, because then you cannot properly get these in yet. So next thing to do is to get this piece on right here, these side pieces, these F28 right there. Get those on. Before you can do those, we have to go ahead and drop our blind nuts. So here, these are these pieces. F31 goes up in front here, and then you've gotten 4 F34, which you double up, and you hit in the blind nut from here because the screw goes in from the bottom. So we're going to do that, glue these in, glue these side rails on, then we're going to install this piece on each, and then up front here until probably here we're done on the side skirts. Gonna get these slotted in, top ones glued. So let's get going again. So guys, now that we've gotten this in, looking good. Obviously we're still missing this piece, but see, now it's in. So yeah, recommend not gluing this in before having the side skirt on, because the side skirt might not fit anymore after you glued this in, if you glue it in crooked. So like this, you can just squeeze everything together, CA, and it will work perfectly. So I put some of the wood glue here on top of the blind nut after making sure it's in the right position, everything, just to make sure this can never back out. And blind nut once backed out of the wing mount of the interceptor while I was taking it off, and yeah, let's just say that was not a lot of fun. So I think we took like half an hour to get that stupid bolt out. So yeah, it just was not a bunch of fun. So yeah, yeah, prevents the blind nuts from backing out. What did I want to say next also? No, I don't think I wanted to say anything else, but yeah, looks good. Next thing we're gonna do is slot the last two in, and then we'll get these top bars done and glued this piece in, and then I'll be working on my squall again. So yeah, let's get back to work. So guys, that was fairly easy. Just some holding stuff together. Obviously, what you do first is obviously stick in the ribs, and then these two parts don't get sticked in yet. Then you put these two parts in. You very first glue them together, and then from here on slowly go on until the back, fully glue them in, both of them. Then you go ahead and take this guy. So this guy is not really meant to be bent like this, as you guys can see from the way the holes are. It's just meant to get sanded down at the end of the day, but like this, it's simpler if you just already give them this curve. So as you can see from the holes here, 90 degrees, so it's just meant to be sanded at the end of the day, but like this, simpler, a bit less sanding to do. Then you just at the very end, or maybe you glue this to this before you glue this entire assembly down, because it was a bit of a struggle to get this one in after this one was glued in already. So yeah, next part is getting these in here from the bottom, servo plate in, and just getting this entire install here done up on the side. So let's go. So guys, just quick little note right here. So before this part goes on, you have to glue this into this part right here, this part into here. So what I just, so you know, so what I think, no, this is part of here. So you first glue this part on here, and then you glue this part into this corner, and then this part onto here, because otherwise this corner gets tricky, because I did these two first, and I had to get this off again to get this in. So yeah, let's get the end done and then move to the other side. Let's go. So guys, one little note. So this assembly you want to do like this. So I find it easiest to just glue this with this part together, because you can kind of lay that on the table, run a bead down here, and then add the other part, and all of this, how to show you, especially with my left hand, but all of this just kind of, give me a second, 1 sec, with my right hand this would be a lot easier. Yeah, all of this kind of just goes in here like this. Then we've got one more piece up in here, goes here, and the final wooden piece up there. So let's go. So guys, honestly, it wasn't that hard. Only didn't know. So this part goes down here, glues in here. So yeah, honestly, looking good. So this thing is quite big, and you can't forget, with this much of nozzle and still a bit of the nose like here. Yeah, let's continue. So guys, both done, and engine rails are also in. So yeah, looking good. So yep, probably gonna do the carbon work next, the stuff that I want to do. So I glued in the engine rails, so I can do those as well. But yeah, let's get going. So guys, next day, and it's almost dry. I mean, pretty much dry. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead trim all these pieces. We're quite long on the video already. So yeah, this is the only one I don't like. I mean, yeah, but I mean, it was because it was laying on here. But all the other ones looking phenomenal, looking great. A little bit of texture on them. So yeah, happy about that. So I'm gonna get these trimmed. For example, this would be somewhat like that at the end of the day, up in there. So I'm gonna get those all trimmed, looking good. And yeah, as soon as we got that done, probably gonna get the carbon spars adjusted to be able to go ahead and get glued in. I'll mix up a batch of 90mm epoxy and get all the rest of the stuff that has to be done with 90mm epoxy, including gluing these here in, all done. So let's get going. So guys, that was fun. No, it really was no fun at all, especially the ones in the fuselage. But honestly, these were quite fun, seeing how they turned out. These turned out quite amazing, honestly. Comment if you like this optic or not, but this would be the quality which you would have in your plane then. So I think this looks amazing. And this almost added no weight, so yeah, honestly, this looks amazing. Also, these would look amazing, but with this in the corner and then here, and obviously these are, I still have to sand a bit to make them fit good, but these would go in here, looking good. So yeah, pretty happy about all of this, and honestly very happy the way all of this turned out. So I've gotten basically, looking in there, some nice carbon work everywhere. Just looking good, looking good. Very happy. So yeah, took this thing out of the main template, and this thing honestly is fairly light. So we're gonna finish the main structure, and then that's gonna be good. But just for a little perspective, here, X130 next to me. I don't know if you can see it properly, but there's a bit of reflection going on. So this is the X without the nose cone or anything on. Yeah, wait, let me get a better angle for you. I have to let go of the X for that. Well, here, yeah, looking cool. So obviously we still have the nose cone back portion going on here. Also, I want to test fit those real quick, so let me do that. So guys, here you have the X in comparison to the Squall. So yeah, whoever has a Squall, you can see. So just tack the stuff into place with one dot of CA. But yeah, this is looking cool. So yeah, let's continue. I think, yeah, we'll flip it up. We flipped around now and then do the final spars on the bottom and a few more things. So let's go. So guys, one thing, this rib is 41, I was correct, and Tom is currently changing this, but this didn't fit properly. So yeah, I'm gonna flip the plane over. These canopy stuff and stuff like that I always do last. I like doing it last. it works out well for me. Yeah, we're gonna flip it over and start doing all the stuff from the underside. So let's get going. So guys, the back ones are done. So those are these three. So this one, F16A, is split right here. I was confused where this is gonna go, so I tried doing the long piece from here, but that's split right here. Then we've gotten this one, which is F46A, F46B, also one entire piece. So I think these I'll in the future put together before everything else, like these joint pieces, so they have nice joints. But yeah, this here is F47 right there, this middle one, and then we've got an F52 times 2 each side right here, and I'm currently figuring out which one goes here and then which go in between here. So let's go. So guys, here we go. So I found this one, that was F44, and then this one right here, this weird looking one. If you watch this before you build an X130, probably good, because this has to go in while you put everything together, because I mean, it's no tragedy, but I just had to break it through here. I mean, it honestly won't weaken it or anything, but just that, yeah, because that's where the door gets hooked up to, right here. So the hinges go through here. Then we've got an F15 right there. So yeah, bottom side is all complete. So next thing, before we're flipping it over, look how twisty this is without anything on there. Look at this, you could probably bend. It's honestly quite sturdy, more sturdy than I thought. And don't forget, a large part of the structure is the landing gear right here. So yep, anyway, yeah, next thing to do is we're going to do the gear doors. So let's get to it. So guys, the hatch up top is done. I decided to do this yesterday still before going to sleep, and I modified it a bit. So right now, the original design is obviously this, but originally you could slide it back and forth in the slot because there was no blocking. There was nothing blocking it. So I think it's hard to get out with one hand, but you kind of have to pop one side here out. With two ends, this is a lot easier, but yeah. So kind of pop one side out, and the same for putting it in. But you've gotten these tabs here now, which just like very little tabs, so this can still go on and off. But these tabs block this from basically moving sideways like that. And then obviously you still have your pins right there, which I don't know when go on, but yeah, just wanted to show you that. So that looks good, worked out well, and very happy about that. So you can see you kind of put in one side, and the other side just kind of very simply clicks and goes down, and you close the locks, and that's it. Very simple. So let's continue, get the doors done, and then we're finished for this video. And it's a very long video already, so let's get going. So guys, front door is done. This is actually the very first door that I ever built that I didn't have to take apart 3 times afterwards again because I did something wrong. But yeah, very simple. You've gotten your carbon parts. The back carbon part is the one that is more flat, and the front one has a bit more of a curve to it. And you cannot switch these wooden brackets out because they have, I think it was a big slot in the back and a small slot in the front, and it would just be way too loose if you swap them around, or if you try putting the one around, it might not fit, whatever. And then you've gotten your nails here, right here, at the end of the day. And if you're wondering, I just built this together outside. So what I like saying with these Tom Jets kits, you really do not need any support or anything. You really don't even need this, the templates at the bottom, as long as you have all the ribs perfectly inserted. When you glue them, it will be straight, because these are just so perfectly precisely cut and designed. And yeah, so same thing here. And as you can see, I just held this in my hand while gluing together, and it's perfectly square. So yeah, looking good. Then the nails, obviously you've gotten a bit of a gap here, but that's no worry. So you have them loose, and then you see where, try centering the door as much as possible with your eyesight. Then you go ahead and push the nails in so that obviously it can slide, and then you just put a drop of CA at the back, and that thing will never come out. So yeah, very simple. Let's get to the main doors. And yeah, the wood is from this wooden sheet, which is like the stronger wooden sheet. So yeah, let's continue. So guys, just one tip I want to show you for the doors. So first of all, when it comes to these, there are a bunch of these, but only 2 fit for the middle one, and that would be the one, or no, the more. But anyways, you, for this middle section, you want one with a shorter one, not one with a very big indent. So, and then there's one with a middler one, and the one, obviously the one with the big one. So anyway, we have to now, no, so basically what you're looking at here is the centerpiece. I always like starting like this, the centerpiece, because then you can't really do anything wrong. So this is right about somewhere here. So yeah, looking good. Let's continue. So guys, since these doors are fairly big, I would recommend first putting the nails in and getting these built in here rather than outside, because just because of the shape, because it's a fairly hard shape, I would say. So yeah, I think that would have made life easier if I would have done that, because now I had to clip here because this was like kind of just not working out and you couldn't move it. But yeah, now it's all good, and it's still crooked a bit, but we can fix that as soon as we put the covering on. So let's get the other one done, and then we have to put the carbon tubes in, do the front lid, and then we're essentially done with this video. So let's get going. So guys, that was a big success, so I at least know that for the future now, whenever I'm building an X130, is that if you build these in the fuselage, these will end up perfectly straight, no issue, because these are quite crooked. And we'll have to, and it will be a bit of a headache to get those to work well. But as you can see, obviously we have nice spacing. I also recommend epoxying this in. I didn't have any nails anymore, or I lost the nails, so I just used some spar. So I recommend at the end of the day to get this epoxied in, like a blob of epoxy around these corners, because these corners aren't that strong. I mean, I talked with Tom, we were supposed to make these carbon pieces, but maybe this is a previous kit, I don't know. But anyway, yeah, those have to have a blob of epoxy around. If you still have the version, we'll have to talk with Tom. I'll have to talk with Tom. He makes these pieces carbon, if they're still wood, because these edges break off and then you lose your doors, and it's honestly not such a very great thing. I mean, because we lost the door in Friedrichshafen. That's why on the second day the gear didn't go in. We just didn't notice it. I mean, the first line was harsh, I do have to say that, because I mainly missed the runway and I dropped it pretty hard, but still, just for the future. And also, if you have a bit harder linings where the gear compresses so much that the door kind of hits on the ground, then these ears very lightly rip off. Or if you have higher grass and the doors are a little contacting with the grass, might be smart to do that. Front gear door obviously not, because it's not that big. But yeah, looking good. Let's flip this. We can get this thing flipped around now and get the canopy frame done, and then we are done with this video. And then I'll get the canopy frame done, then we'll get our spars done. We still have to do that, epoxy those in nicely, and then we're done. So let's continue. So guys, there are a few more tips on the canopy. So at least this thing, so these aren't glued in yet. So first of all, these go in this direction, because you slide the canopy on like this. So what you'll do first, slide, I like doing this first before installing this piece. So you go ahead, do this, and everything's loose, so you make sure everything fits nice. You kind of align everything fairly decent, and then you'll hold these down and drop them with a spot of CA. We'll later on add some epoxy. So let's get going. So guys, another tip is, first of all, if you manage, it might be smart to put some solder tape down around this area before gluing, just so this doesn't happen when you don't glue it here. And I don't really mind if it happens. Very simple. I have this, literally this used for these pieces. You just go under, kind of wedge it under there, and it will pop free. Another one is you glue in a pair of magnets. In both, we'll put a blob of epoxy on here later, so these can never go out. But with CA, you use good amount of CA and just rub with your fingers so it gets smooth. And then you just pop these magnets on there so you don't get the direction wrong. And you can kind of hang this up on these magnets. So you've gotten all the right positioning. And with all these tricks, you can then pursue to finishing up the canopy basically. And obviously you still have to glue these with a bit of CA. So these will be epoxied on this side at the end of the day. So let's get going. So guys, got these fitted. I'm going to paint them black up here just so they match a little better. And then I got these marked out now to be able to be glued in. Cut and glued in. So let's go. So guys, I am back from Dubai. Last touches to going to finally finish final touches today of this video. Got the canards fitting, had to do some rough sand. So I'm sorry if my voice sounds kind of bad. I've been a little sick right off Dubai. So right after Dubai on the next day when I wanted to go to school, I had like 38 degrees of fever. But yeah, I was a bit sick. And this morning I still had fever, but I don't think I have any anymore. I feel a lot better anyway. So yeah. Got everything fitted. I had to do a bit of sanding. I did some wet sanding in the sink at the end of the day because it goes faster. On here, just to get the rod fitting in properly. And I really recommend not gluing in the bearings because it's a lot easier fitting this while the bearings are free floating, because you could glue the bearings in the wrong way or crooked. So yeah, anyway, this is all in. It's very important to spot glue this like this so that you don't have the bearings in here. Spot glue this and it's a little crooked or anything like that, then you try putting the rod in even when it's sanded and it just will not work, because then you'll have to end up ripping these out when they're already epoxied in, which obviously would not be that great. But yeah, anyway, let's get that done and we will mix up a batch of epoxy, do up this, and we will be doing up. This wing is already done up, but we still have to do this wing and a bunch of stuff here. I think I might go over with this on epoxy. I don't know. I mean, it should be fine, more than fine, but I might just put some epoxy over here. And then over here, over there, and on the inside down here. So yeah, quite a bit of epoxying to do, but this thing's amazing. Got a few more flights. I think got 3 more flights on it in Dubai. So I'm just way too excited to get my own build and flying. But for now, we have to build another squall. Yep. But hopefully that one will be light. So my Frankenstein turbine is for now going in this interceptor. So until the other turbine is back with the other squall, I want to get this thing finished, get started on a new squall. New squall will have a Psychoi 130 or a JetCat P130 in it. And yeah, but let's continue on this, get the gluing done. And then I think we're gonna be finished with this video. So let's get those last steps done. So guys, we'll end this video here. Just made some pictures for Facebook mainly, but I'll blend them in right after this video if you haven't seen them already until this point in Facebook. Yeah, everything's done. As far as everything goes, I'll leave this like this to cure overnight, and then everything will be nice, straight, and will work out. I also went ahead over these again, right here. I didn't go in here because I didn't want to do that messy. we've gotten everything here complete. So yeah, we can end this video. So thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Obviously I think I had a longer break of like, I think almost 3 weeks, no, almost 4 weeks before between the vector thrusting system install of the Squall and the Squall repaint video. So I didn't get a chance to say sorry for that yet in the previous videos, but I could have in the math video, but maybe this is just the second time of you hearing it, and I already forgot that I put it in that video. But thank you so much for watching. Hopefully we soon can hit those 500 subscribers. That's like a goal, the first goal, major goal of 2026. And yeah, don't forget to hit that subscribe button with that so we can reach those 500 subscribers. I'll see you guys in the next one with the X130. So let's go. Or maybe Interceptor. I don't know right now. So let's get going.